Blanche Carter was raised by a hard-working family but led a very difficult life. From a young age and throughout her entire life, Blanche faced discrimination, racism, and segregation. For example, she had trouble getting a good education due to her race, but no matter how disrespectful people were to her, she always treated others with kindness and taught those around her to do the same. After her husband, Dowdell Carter, passed away, she was left to be a single mother of their 6 children. She put aside her dreams of becoming a nurse to provide for her family. She heavily involved herself in the Auburn community and is seen as a strong figure in fighting for equality for all, specifically here in Auburn, with equitable housing. On her headstone, Blanche is remembered as a beloved mother and a cherished grandmother. Blanche Carter was born on May 18, 1927, to her parents, Fala Moore and Warner Spratling. She lived in Waverly, Alabama with them and helped with the farm. Her father was a World War I veteran, and her mother sold butter, eggs, milk, and other goods. Her parents worked as sharecroppers, in which the profit was low due to the lack of crop that the sharecropper was able to keep. Sharecropping is when someone rents land from a landowner to farm, and a certain percentage of their crops goes to the owner of the land. Sharecropping is highly similar to slavery because sharecroppers were in debt to the landowners and could not break their contract with them or they would get in jail. In most instances, sharecroppers would be indebted to those landowners for their whole life, just like slaves were owned for their whole lives. Carter began her education in the 6th grade, and then as a teenager she moved to Camp Hill, Alabama, where she went to school in Lafayette and graduated from Lafayette High School. Before Blanche Carter was wed, she moved to Columbus, Georgia, and began working at a dry cleaner. In 1949, she married Dowdell Carter, who she had 3 daughters with, Linda, Beverly, and Shirley. They also had 3 sons, Dowdell Jr., Alfonso, and Dwayne. Dowdell Sr. passed away on June 21, 1967, after years of battling a terminal illness. Following his death, Blanche was given the job of raising her 6 children and providing for her family alone. During this time, she relied on Lee Chapel AME Church for comfort, but she persevered and managed to build a life for her children. After Dowdell Carter's passing, Blanche Carter took the head of the family as a single mother by getting a job as a servant to a minister's wife. During this job, she experienced the discrimination of her time when she was accused of stealing from the home one day, when she had accidentally just misplaced an item. Blanche Carter was known for standing up for herself, so when the item was found and the lady who had accused her apologized, she still decided to quit and began working for the company Protective Life Insurance, where she collected life insurance premiums and policies. When Blanche was not at work, she was actively engaging in her community's activities, whether it was chaperoning for the community center or teaching the Word of God to the children of the Drake apartment complex. She continued to be engaged by attending local city council meetings and went on to co-found the Auburn Housing Tenant Council. Blanche could not afford to go to school during the day, but that did not stop her, as she was spending her time in night school. Her dream was to become a nurse because she was very passionate for helping those around her. However, she was unable to achieve this due to constraints of time and money. Fortunately, she did lead a life of self-employment by teaching future generations the importance of giving respect and earning an education until her passing in 2000 of renal failure. Blanche Carter inspired those close to her to better themselves and strive for equality in ways such as raising her kids to be respectful and kind to all, as well as her contributions to the housing in Auburn. She was very involved in the city of Auburn's government as she routinely attended city council meetings and worked with housing in Auburn through them. Through her vote on the tenant council, she had an important role of representing the Black community on the city decisions regarding houses and taxes. She looked to educate people by teaching the youth in her area. Blanche always valued education and was highly important because she knew how far it could take someone, especially a person of color during the civil rights movement. She always loved to help others in the Auburn community when she was able to. Ultimately, Blanche Carter influenced Auburn history and the history of housing and civil rights in Auburn.